You might not see it yet, but being alone is a blessing in disguise. If you found yourself walking the winding road of a spiritual path, you'll almost certainly stumble into stretches of solitude, sometimes lasting months, even years. Countless souls have traveled this path before you, and countless more will follow. Yet, in these quiet, solitary moments, you stand alone, face to face with the rawest version of yourself. We don't always choose solitude willingly. Sometimes life drops us into it like a stone into a still pond, sending ripples of resistance through us. Your ego kicks and screams, desperate for noise, validation, anything to break the silence. It might even throw a tantrum, drowning in self-pity, cursing the day you dared to step onto a path so stripped of worldly distractions. You'll hear its whining voice. Why me? Why am I alone while everyone else dances in the glow of companionship? This ego-driven resistance isn't just a fleeting thought, it's a towering wall, distorting your perception until you're convinced you're the only one trudging through this barren land. It whispers that the universe has singled you out, that you're unworthy of the joy others seem to grasp so effortlessly. But here's the secret. The moment you realize you are more than your ego's complaints, everything shifts. Solitude stops being a cage and becomes a sanctuary, a vast, open space where growth takes root, introspection flourishes, and awareness unfolds like a flower reaching for the sun. In this stillness, you meet the part of yourself that has been drowned out by the chatter of daily life, the part that has been waiting patiently for you to listen. Philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once said, "The crowd is untruth." Away from the clamor in the tender embrace of your aloneness, you're given a rare gift, the chance to confront your truth, shape it, and rise from it, not as a broken fragment, but as a whole, radiant being. This journey is not for the faint-hearted. It takes courage to sit with your thoughts, to stare into the depths of your fears and dreams without flinching. Yet, as you linger in this sacred space, something miraculous happens. The things that once held you captive, endless parties, empty applause, the need to be seen, begin to lose their grip. It's not a sudden rupture, but a slow, gentle unraveling, like a thread slipping free from a worn tapestry. Your soul begins to crave the quiet as fiercely as your ego once craved company. Imagine your ego as a restless child, tugging at your sleeve, demanding attention, chasing the next shiny distraction. Your spirit, on the other hand, is a weary traveler, content to sit by a riverbank and watch the water flow. One is frantic, the other is at peace. When you resist solitude, it feels suffocating, restrictive, like a straitjacket. You may think the universe is conspiring against you, stacking the deck to keep you isolated, but lean into it and the world cracks open. New horizons stretch before you, not of places or people, but of possibilities, wisdom, and a quiet joy you never knew existed. Spiritual thinker Henri Nouwen called solitude the furnace of transformation, and he was right. It is a crucible where old identities melt away, where the masks you've worn for years dissolve into ash, and where a truer version of yourself is forged in the heat of your own company. This path is not a well-lit highway lined with cheering crowds. It's an overgrown, unmarked forest trail where the only compass is your heartbeat. Following a traditional spiritual road may feel safer. There are guideposts, fellow travelers, a map drawn by those who came before you. But step off that beaten path, and familiarity vanishes. Right and wrong blur into shades of gray, and the voices of others fall silent. It's just you and the wilderness within, a vast, uncharted expanse that both terrifies and liberates. A study published in Psychology of Religion and Spirituality found that those who undergo spiritual awakenings often experience the collapse of their old frameworks, the lenses through which they once viewed the world. It's disorienting, yes, but it's also a rebirth. You shed the skin of inherited beliefs, societal expectations, and borrowed dreams, and what remains is something raw, vulnerable, and unmistakably you. The ache of this solitude isn't emptiness, it's a hunger for something real. At first it stings. You might try to fill it with noise, endless scrolling, fleeting flings, a bottle that promises escape. But those are just band-aids on a wound that needs air to heal. The world can't soothe this longing, only you can. So sit with it. Let the tears fall if they must. Let the laughter rise when it comes. Ask the questions you've buried beneath the surface. Who am I beneath the roles I play? What do I want when no one's watching? What's keeping me tethered to a life I've outgrown? The answers won't shout. They'll whisper soft as a breeze through the trees, and you'll need the silence to hear them. This is your chrysalis, your cocoon of becoming. The world might feel far away, but it's not gone. It's waiting. If you rushed back now, you'd carry the old you into new connections, building bonds on a foundation you're trying to leave behind. Solitude gives you the space to dismantle that old self, brick by brick. Research shows that time alone boosts self-awareness and resilience, but you don't need a study to prove it. You'll feel it in the way your shoulders soften, in how the quiet stops feeling heavy and starts feeling like home. You're not just passing time, you're preparing for the friendships that will meet the real you, for the dreams that will fit your new wings, for the moment you step back into the world, not as who you were, but as who you're meant to be. Years from now, you'll look back on this solitary stretch and see it for what it was. A secret strength, a shield against the chaos. It's not a punishment, it's a privilege. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "The only journey is the one within." And he was right. This path demands grit, heart, and a willingness to let go of who you thought you were. The spiritual journey doesn't bend to your plans or your ego's whims. It carves its own course, and you can either fight it or flow with it. Surrender doesn't mean defeat, it means trust. Trust that each step, each quiet breath, is shaping you for what's ahead. So take this time and make it yours. Walk through your inner forest with intention. Every rustling leaf a lesson, every shadow a teacher. Read the books that crack you open. Listen to the songs that stitch you back together. Sit with the silence until it sings. This is your odyssey, your chance to peel back the layers and find the core beneath. It won't always be comfortable. Some days it'll feel like staring into a storm. But that's where the magic lies, in the raw, unfiltered truth of your own becoming. When the road feels endless, when every turn brings a fresh ache, it's easy to wonder if you'll ever reach the other side. But as Anais Nin so beautifully put it, the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. This solitude isn't a dead end, it's a doorway. You're not lost, you're found. Not broken, but breaking through. The world will call you back when the time is right, and when it does, you'll step into it with a lightness you've never known. Until then, let the spotlight shine on you alone. Let the stillness cradle you. Let the journey within be the greatest adventure of all. Thank you for reading. If this resonates, share it with someone who needs it, or keep it close as a reminder of your own strength. The path is yours, walk it boldly.